Hello, my name is Ramona McKee with QuickToStitch.com.
What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Put Pat it away.
All right. Well, welcome into the show. It is Friday, April 19th, 2024. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And my name is Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at Our Success Group. And I am here to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business. And I'm dragging Terry along with me here today because we're going to talk about a topic. No, this is a topic both you and I love. I know you cover this. A lot of these kind of great ideas extensively in your screen printing class, and you know we're all about it. So anyhow, what we're here to talk to you guys about today is how to sell more to your existing customers, to the customers that you already have. In fact, we've kind of come up with our top 10 list of ideas here. So I think this is going to be a great conversation. Obviously, as I said, this is something I love talking about, and I know you love talking about it. So we'll have a good time today.
And add to that, Aaron, we love to make lists.
That's a good point. I do it on a whiteboard. You do it on your, yep. Where is it? There it is. Yes, we are list guys. So it just made sense, right? A top 10 list. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you stay till the very end so you can get your helping of secret sauce. Dane Clement, the Two Regular Guys art guy, will be stirring up the sauce today, and he's going to be spicing up your graphics with a Cajun helping of generative fill with Adobe Photoshop AI. So I don't know how long that's going to run because that's a really long title.
Exactly. If it's as long as the title, no. We love having Dane, and he is the Raging Cajun, we'll call him. So we're just making stuff up at this point, but he is our art guy. We've actually asked him to become our art guy, and he said yes. So poor Dane is now part of this whole thing as well, just like poor Eric. And
exactly.
Good times. All right. Well, speaking of people that have stepped in to help and make this show even better, we've been so blessed to have all these news outlets jumping in here, and just all of the lovely people that we've met throughout the years here. And one of our favorites, one of our dear friends, is Marsha Derryberry with Screen Printing Magazine, and she's got a little news for us here, Terry. So are you ready to dive into that?
Absolutely. Let's hear from Marsha.
All right, here we go.
Happy Friday, decorators. It's your old pal, Marsha Derryberry here, Editor-in-Chief of Screen Printing and Big Picture magazines. I popped in today before the podcast to fill you in on a couple of news tidbits we've been covering over at screenprintingmag.com. First off is a huge congratulations to our friends over at Lawson Screen and Digital. Huge accomplishment. This milestone year marks the 75th year in business for Lawson. And my dear friends, David, Ben, and Taylor Landesman, a huge congratulations to you and your team from all of us in the industry. They're celebrating with an open house May 17th in St. Louis at the company's headquarters. They'd love for everybody to come. It's not just open to Lawson customers. They'd like everybody to be there. So if you happen to be in the St. Louis area, or you need a reason to go to the top of the arch and want to come for the weekend, they'd love to have you. You can see all the new innovations, hear about trends, meet the team, and meet the leaders of the company. It's just going to be a great time. As you know, Lawson has a long and storied history in the industry of being workhorse screen printing machines. But one of the reasons, many reasons for their success is because they have really paid attention. Leadership and their engineers and everyone on their team has paid attention to the industry as it has changed. So they got into the digital space right when it was time, and several years ago rebranded themselves as Lawson Screen and Digital to cover the gamut of the printing industries. So congratulations go out to them again. Then the other thing is our good friend, longtime screen printing contributor Marshall Atkinson, who is co-founder of Shirt Lab, along with co-founder Tom Rowan, another good friend of the magazine's, and co-owner Ali Banholzer, who we all know and love, are presenting Shirt Lab Austin 2024 this weekend. It gives me a reason to be here in Austin for the weekend, which is my old stomping ground. It's where I went to college, so look out, college bars. I'll be there this weekend after the event period. But once again, Marshall and team have brought in several thought leaders from big print shops. Some you know, some are new to the speaking circuit, and then people from outside the industry who are experts in what they do. So it ought to be a great time. Look for a follow-up on our website. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and Terry, Aaron, and Eric will invite me back in a couple weeks. Bye, y'all.
All right. And just like you said at the top, Aaron, Marcia is a long time friend in the industry. So glad that she has found her spot there at Screen Printing Magazine and sharing the news with us.
For sure. It feels right. I mean, you think about Marcia and what she's all about and how she's connected, and so finding her way to Screen Printing Magazine, I think, is fantastic. Obviously, Adrian did an amazing job there, and we still love having Adrian on with DTFprinting.com, but having Marcia there at Screen Printing Magazine is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, and Adrian did so much in that transition, really back to garment decorating for Screen Printing Magazine, because I used to do a column for them years ago, but it would be the only article in the whole magazine that dealt with garment decorating. So I think Adrian kind of was a part of the spearhead to really get them focused back on our end of the industry.
Yeah. And I still will argue with anybody that as far as industry and news and just kind of the coverage and some of the stuff out there, man, we are darn lucky. I mean, again, Screen Printing Magazine, now Adrian's expanded and going into DTFprinting.com. Graphics Pro is a great magazine. And then you've got the Apparelist and how they're so tied in. Obviously, they're part of Printing United and that whole thing. But I mean, that's literally a magazine just for apparel in that space, just like Screen Printing Magazine getting back to the garment side of things as well. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and awesome that we have them on the show every single week to share the news. And you and I are digging through press releases and just before we go on the air.
Yeah. Because honestly, it's better because they've got all the details in the background, right? We're just kind of and so I love that. And
the inside scoop,
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I mean, I still get all of the I'm still subscribed to all of them, so I see some of these bullet points come through, but I've been fairly intentional about not reading too much of them. I'm waiting to hear from one of the news folks to kind of share and oh, that does sound interesting. I'm going back to that. So
and they add, and I was just talking to so and so about this, and here's the part that wasn't in the press release.
Yeah, for sure. So and we are. Yep.
I was just gonna mention the dad joke. Were you going in a different direction?
No, that's fine. We can get to the dad joke. I was going to say, I did mention Graphics Pro also have Impressions magazine that's out there. So again, really lucky to have so many great people, the folks that both of those things have kind of made some transitions, but we've got slots available. So we may make that happen yet this year, but stay tuned. All right. Yes. Dad joke. You're right, Terry. I don't know if I was avoiding it. I feel like I got to really stay lifted up to your standard. You've really taken us to the new level here, man. So, but I think I've got a good one here for you. So are you ready for that?
I'm ready to hear it. Let's hear a dad joke.
Okay, here we go. All right, Terry. Well, I didn't know if I told you this or not, but I was going to give archery a shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, there were just too many drawbacks.
That's pretty good.
That one did feel pretty good, actually. I wasn't actually that nervous. I felt good on that one.
that was strong.
Thank you.
All right. Well, before we go any further, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intro. So go to decorators.inc./intro. Read a few sentences and be a part of the show. Don't be left out.
Yeah.
We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys, to book a future episode. Or you can email us at info@2regularguys.com with your show ideas. Doesn't have to be you. Maybe it's just something you'd like to hear about.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to hearing what you guys think about this top 10 list. And so if you are a podcast listener, we would appreciate it if you every once in a while just pop over to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page and leave a comment over there. Or as Terry said, your reviews on those podcast channels are extremely helpful to us. So we could really use your help on that. So again, if you're a regular podcast listener, I mean, we still to this day, Terry, run into people at shows and stuff like that who say, "Oh yeah, we turn this on during production and we listen to it as a company," and so we just love that and appreciate that. And you know, if you shared a review, that would help other people be able to have that opportunity too. So
we have some teachers also that play it during their classes where they're doing screen printing or sublimation, different types of things at high schools around. So,
awesome.
So load all those high school kids out there. Tune in yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are one of those high school kids, check out Skills USA, right? I'll give a little plug there. I imagine those teachers are already made you aware of something like that. So, but if you are in the sublimation world, make sure that, well, I'll see you there at Nationals. How about that?
You know, every time I have a teacher, and which is most of all my screen printing classes, I always say, "Are you aware of Skills USA?" About half are, and and others are certainly interested in it. So for podcast listeners, you don't get to see it, but there is some kind of small insect that's dive bombing me here.
It's not just Terry freaking out for no apparent reason. Okay. All right, Terry. Well, let's get into this. We've got our top 10 list here of top 10 ways to sell more to your existing customers. And I love this concept, and I love that we're talking about this, right? Because, you know, when we were talking about this, you put this pretty plainly, and I think is right? The easiest customer to sell to is the one that you already have. Right? I mean, if you think about that, boy, that's so true. But as businesses, I find myself even in this myself, right? We spend so much time trying to win new business that sometimes we maybe actually neglect that easy customer to sell to. But honestly, if you really do go back and then look at the numbers, it's probably the most profitable way to actually grow your business is through those existing customers, right? The fact that they're already, I don't know, for lack of a better term, trained in what you do and how you do it. So, you know, you're on the same page with them as far as expectations. They're already in your system. I mean, there's so many benefits to working with existing customers, right? Heck, if it's a reorder, right? The screens may be already burned for a screen printer or, you know, it's just kind of hitting reprint, so to speak, from your RIP software or whatever that kind of is. So, you know, I guess where I wanted to start with this, Terry, is just that the top 10 things, right? Tip number 1 is to make your most important customers your most important customers, right? Which are those, you know, existing businesses. You know, the 80-20 rule, I think, Terry, people may have heard of that. Maybe it's called the Pareto principle, but you probably heard of it as the 80-20 rule. Lots of different things that fall into that category. But one of the biggest is the fact that 80% of all of your revenue, all of your income is going to come from 20% of your customers. It just, you know, okay, it's not going to be exactly 80% to 20%, but it's going to be probably pretty darn close to that. I mean, you could go look at most businesses and look at those numbers and go, yeah, that's pretty darn close to true. They've proven this over and over and over again. So from that regard, right, why would we be focusing so much on new business or that bottom 80% of your customers when 80% of all your revenue is going to come from that top 20%. So I think, that would be my first tip, really. I know I shared it already, but just reiterating, get back to what it is that top 20% comes to you for. Right? I get the other part that I shared before. I'll let you in here, Terry, is that, when we're thinking about that top 20%, we know what they buy from us, probably, right? We have at least have a pretty good gut instinct of what the products are or services that they come to us for. But what's most important is to understand why those top 20% buy from you. Not what, but why. Why did they pick you over somebody else? What makes them choose you? And what about the things that you do that get them to choose you is important to them, right? So I think that's probably a great place to start. Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about the costs and the time involved in prospecting and cultivating that new customer, you've already made that investment in these customers. And I think it's easy to think, oh, I need more customers to grow my business. I need more customers, and it's a natural thought, but you can't do it at the expense of the customers that you have. And so, I mean, that customer is there. And when you're prospecting, depending on what you're selling, it's a multi-contact proposition normally. And part of that is you just learning about that new customer and spending time finding out, what kind of products they might be buying from you, or they're buying from somebody else. And so all that time that you're doing that, you already have all that information in your data bank of info on these customers, whether that's a physical database or that's in your head. And we all, our best customers, we do know them. We in our heads, we know. I mean, we know their husbands or their wives names, and we know that their kids play on a traveling baseball team. You have relationships with these customers. Go ahead.
Yeah, Terry, the thing that I love that you pointed that out about, the fact that the amount of money you spend on the prospecting, but also that part about, these customers, right? Because I'll hear this quite a lot. Like, people are going, well, I don't know who my ideal customer is. And I always kind of guide them this way. We kind of say, okay, who's that one customer that, like, when they call, you're excited, you can't wait to do business with them, like they're like, oh my gosh, when's Terry going to call me again? I cannot wait to do that again. It was so much fun, it was so profitable, we just, everybody was happy, he was super happy, he's telling all his friends about me, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's your ideal customer, right? You're trying to be all things to everybody. You know who your ideal customer is, and so just focus in on them. Because, like, I think the next thought after you think about, okay, Terry's my ideal customer, then I go, man, if I just had 1,000 more people like Terry, if I just had 100 more people like Terry, business would be great. And the reality is, there are 100 more, there are 1,000 more of those customers out there. You're just not reaching them. You're not attracting them with your message, because you're trying to be all things to everybody. And you really just need to, like, okay, I'm talking to Terry here, right? And I think that'll be a great ticket to just go back and talk to those customers again, build that relationship up. And in that process of building that relationship up, you're going to grow your business with them. And also, they're going to bring you new customers without all that expense.
Exactly right. And if you can't figure out who those people are, figure out which people, when your cell phone rings, you always take their call. That's that's the customer right there.
Oh, I love that. What a golden nugget there, Terry. All right. Well, what's the next tip? What's tip number 2 here?
Okay. I'm sure the regulators are saying, when's he going to say it? When's he going to say it? Here it comes.
Is there like a bingo board now? Like at what point in the show does Terry say this line? But let's see if that's true.
Okay. Well, here goes. Do good work, deliver on time. Do good work, deliver it on time. Do good work, deliver on time. So how do you get more business from your existing customers? Treat them right. Do good work for them, deliver on time. They're not only going to buy more from you, they're going to tell their friends about you. And so that existing customer can help bring you more customers. So And when you say to me, you know, I don't get a lot of repeat business. It's the economy. It's not. It's not the economy. It's you. Even though right now the economy is pretty rough, it's still not the economy. It's you.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you know, just be good at what you do. Be expert at what you do. That will be a way to have that existing customer buy more product from you. Because, you know, some markets out there, they buy from lots of different vendors. You know, I was in the college bookstore market for many years, and the college bookstores, you bought, you budgeted $20,000 from this vendor, $40,000 from this vendor, maybe $5,000 from this new vendor, and you just come in and show your wares, and they say, okay, what am I at so far? Okay, I'll take 72 more of those. What am I at so far? And so if you're that person who does good work, delivers on time, especially into that type of customer, you're going to get a bigger share of that pie. So, you know, it's do good work, deliver on time. I should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Man, if we only knew somebody who oh wait. Well, and I think that that is so important, right? Like you were talking about the people that, you know, it's not, don't tell me it's the economy, right? You mentioned that. And because you can also see that from kind of the outside looking in, right? The people that are grumbling about their customers and, you know, they're dummies, whatever, right? They kind of have that. It's those same people that are sitting there going, well, it's the economy. Like you said, maybe take a look in the mirror a little bit. Are you, like, you know, loving on your customers? Or are you grumbling at them all the time because they're an inconvenience to you getting work done, right? Like, I think that goes all in with that do good work and deliver on time. I mean, doing good works means, you know, love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And when you're upset about what you're doing, it's going to show, and your customers are going to go, the economy is a little tight. Do I really need to get that extra thing from Mr. Grumbly there? I don't know.
Exactly right. You know, when you said that about customer service, it reminded me of an old story where I was in our customer service department when I was in Kansas City, and one of the customer service agents, she's like, oh gosh darn it, my phone would stop ringing, I can get my work done. And I turned to her and I said, you mean if those customers would stop calling, you could get your customer service work done? Oh yeah. So sometimes you have to put everybody in the company in perspective as well, or get them into the right perspective.
Sure. And, you know, I get it, right? I'm not saying that if you're grumbly, like, yes, things do happen, and there are times where there's frustrations, but as a company, it's your job to, you know, minimize that, right? So if you do have too many customer service calls coming in for your customer service people to keep up, maybe you got to look at something, right? I think it always just turns back to, I understand it. We can commiserate about it a little bit, but you got to get that mirror turned back around on yourself before you can actually make any changes.
And you know that doesn't translate to, I have 5 customer service reps, so clearly I need 10. No, track why they're calling.
Exactly.
And fix that before they call.
Exactly.
You know, I would love that nobody ever call customer service.
Absolutely.
That means you got it figured out. Now that's never going to happen, but
it's like the Maytag repairman, right? That was the whole thing. They were bored, and they, you know, because
exactly right. Perfect example.
Yeah. Man, I like that.
All right, what's number 3?
Okay, let's see. Yep. All right, Terry, this is going to shock a lot of people too, but I'm actually going to go into an actual nuts and bolts thing first. What? I think, right? Like something specific.
I have nothing left if you start doing nuts and bolts.
No, that's not true, but I'm probably just borrowing from you anyway. So, all right. So bundles and packages. I think that thinking about bundles and packages is something that, especially as people delivering products, right? Like if you sell a coffee mug, should you not also be figuring out a way to sell a coaster, or, you know, something, a tray, or like what things go together? And sometimes it's like two opposite things, but they kind of get bought together. So this is where I said, you know, you might know what your customers buy. This is where you go back to that what your customers buy list and find out, right? Where are your customers buying two different products at the same time? And maybe it's a product and a service, and maybe, or whatever that is, but figuring out ways to kind of come up with bundles or packages. What that does first and foremost is it helps your customers understand what they might not know that they need, right? Like one of the young ladies in our Masters of Success program, she sells a business advertising package, right? And it's got some promotional products in it. It's got a hat. It's got, mugs and keychains and some other thing. And it's all one package. Like, okay, you've got a brand new business and you want to promote it. Here's the package that you need, right? They maybe didn't know that they needed this thing that, oh, but yeah, that would be a good leave behind to have mouse pads or this coffee mug or whatever. And so that's the first benefit of it, Terry, is that fact that we're helping the customers understand what they might not know that they need. And once they see the bundle or the package, they go, oh yeah, I do need that. Thank you. Right. And then the other part of this is a lot of times people think, okay, I'm going to do a package or a bundle, and therefore I have to like discount it. Right. And I'm just going to throw out numbers that are easy numbers for me to do math in my head with. Right. So don't send Terry hate mail because my pricing is way off here. But let's just say, all right, again, for easy math for me, that's it, is you sell a t-shirt and a hat, and that's something you want to bundle together. And maybe you sell the t-shirt for $10 and the hat for $5. Again, I get it. That's way too low. Just, but a lot of people will go, okay, if I'm going to bundle that together, maybe I've got to sell it now for $13. I got to discount it. Right. But the reality is, just by you bundling it together, you're probably going to sell more. In fact, they've done studies that show that just by bundling products together, you will sell more. So you could sell that package at $15 and still sell more because you're actually saving your customers energy. They don't have to go and figure out, okay, 10 plus 5 is 15. Maybe they're really bad at math on the fly like me. And to just be able to go, okay, it's $15, right? It's kind of that Amazon effect. I just want to be able to push buy, right? Like my conscious knows that I'm actually paying for shipping. My conscious knows that, I could probably shop this and build my own. But the reality is it's made it easy for me to buy these things together. So, you absolutely could say, okay, well, I'm selling more anyhow, so I got a little more margin, so I could discount this a little bit. But it's not required. I don't think it's required at all, Terry. So what are your thoughts on that?
100%, especially if it's kind of a clever idea and while you're talking, I was just thinking, you're selling coffee mugs to somebody and they're going to give them to their best customers. Well, don't just give them a coffee mug, because you want that coffee mug sitting on their desk, right? Well, Guess what? I could show you a whole bunch of coffee mugs that I'm at the point where I'm not allowed to bring in a coffee mug unless I get rid of a coffee mug. I'm in that point of my life here.
Yeah.
But, and I can't, it's all plugged in, but I can't lift it up. But what if you sent a coffee mug and one of those little plug-in heaters that you put on your desk to put your coffee mug on? I will guarantee you they will keep that, and they'll put your coffee mug on it. So, and so you bundled it. And I don't know, what are those, $10 on Amazon, maybe?
Yeah.
That's an easy add-on to add value to the sale.
Yeah. And you could invest in a lower cost, single color, stamp imprinter type system, and even personalize those, even, add their business information to them. So,
I was just looking at mine. Mine's decorated, but it says Mr. Coffee.
Okay. Yeah. So you just
put Mr. Coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great idea. Right. And I think you're exactly right. Get creative, right? Like the easy bundles are fantastic, right? Like I said, the shirt and the hat, but where's the creativity there? Right. And so think about, at the end of the day, what is it that your customer is attempting to do with that product? And now you're making their lives easier too. That, their whole goal is, again, to have their logo brand in front of people. And that's a fantastic idea. So
what are we doing here? We're solving problems for people, right?
There you go. 100%. All right. Are we on to number 4 here?
We should have numbered these because we are going to forget where we are. But okay, mine is.
You talk, I'll number.
My number 4 here is sample other products when a customer orders from you? And by that I mean, do you do hats? What's a product available that would be natural for that end user? Put one in the box. And you know, going all the way back to my roots decades ago in screen printing, is I would when I box up 72 shirts for the Kiwanis Club, I'd always throw in a hat that had my logo on it. And two things started happening. One was I started seeing my hats all over town, because nobody throws it away. And by the way, do a good hat, not a crappy hat.
Yes.
People throw away the crappy hats.
Yes.
But and the second thing was, hey, I didn't realize you did hats. When we order again, we want to get hats. And so, I mean, I sold tens of thousands of hats, and my only promotion was basically throwing them in boxes to the customers I was already selling to. So, and you know, it could be a lot of different things that you're gonna do. And if nothing else, if they never order a hat from you, people feel warm and fuzzy getting something free in that box of shirts that they bought. So warm and fuzzy means that's the way they think of you.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And honestly, Terry, if you think about that, the amount of money that you're spending on new customers, right? Like, you know, giving them that hat, it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, especially for what it's going to bring in. And, you know, let's say that they're not a hat person. If it's a good hat, like you said, they're not pitching that. They're going to give it to, you know, their brother, their cousin, the person that is the hat wearer. And now, you know, there's that hat out there and they're like, where'd you get that? Oh, well, I got it from Uncle Bob and he got it from Terry, who's his screen printer, right? Like, so
phone number's on the hat.
Yeah. I guess that would be like, I don't know. I guess I've got a question for you, Terry. Like, how do you look at that side of it? Right. So putting a hat in there that's got your business information, you know, Terry, the screen printer's information on it, versus putting a hat in there that is maybe just a shrunken down version or of what you're printing for them or their logo or something like that. How would you kind of think about that?
Absolutely. And as a screen printer, that's a little tougher to do.
Yeah.
But certainly if I had a DTG machine, a DTF machine, sublimation, you know, lots of decorations methods, even heat applied vinyl. There's lots of ways that you could send them something personal in that box. And I absolutely encourage that.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess probably just put your information on the inside of the hat or something along those lines?
You know, maybe even if you're not doing a DTF, you could certainly have a sheet done with your logo and stick it on the inside, or stick it on the mesh side of the hat. You know, it's a little small logo, and
so it's out there
because those DTF transfers will stick to that mesh side, and it looks super cool.
Yeah, and you could, you know, have some, you know, 4x6 cards or whatever, you know, kind of print it up and put that with the hat. I mean, you can go a long way with this, but I think, you know, the idea of just putting in something else into the box that speaks to what you do, right? Like, because I guess the flip side of this, Terry, would be if you're not really a big fan of doing hats, then don't put hats in the box.
Don't do it. Yes, exactly right. and I was doing it because I didn't know any better, and I got really good at it. And to the point where I was doing hats for all the other screen printers around. So it was to my benefit, because all the other screen printers are like, I don't want to touch that. That's crazy. Yeah. Because I went through a lot of hats. I will confess to that.
Yeah. I love
That's
it.
how you learn.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's
just like Pierre Nikki. How did you become an expert screen printer in a year? It was super easy. I just worked at it 100 hours a week.
Exactly.
You got to work at it.
Got to work at it. I totally, I agree. All right. Are we ready for number 5?
Your next one, I think.
I think so. Got to work at it, right? So number 5 here, Terry, is persistence. Persistence. Basically, reach out often, right? So here's the rub of it. Here's the balance. You do have to find that balance. You don't want to be like overwhelming them. You know, you don't want to call them every week and ask for the order and be all pushy, right? But you do want to stay top of mind. It's crucial that you stay top of mind. You know, you've done business with them, they've taken the product, they're happy with it, you know, but very easily that could kind of go, okay, we only order once a year. Next year rolls around, maybe there's somebody new there, maybe, you know, just like I just need to get shirts really quick. You know, I don't have time to track down this kind of thing. But if you're top of mind, right, then every time an opportunity comes up for something that you can provide, they're going, oh yeah, I remember Terry just reached out to me last week and just checked in to see how I was doing. Right. And so
Yeah.
I think this one can be, okay, everybody, I'm going to actually tell a story that you may have heard. So I think I've spent too much time with Terry, but, but have I told you my candy bar label story before?
Probably, but I don't recall.
All right, I'll be quick then. All right. So when I was a new salesman, I had an opportunity to win this big account, which was a chocolate company. And I had learned this process of being told no. And so my whole goal was to get as many no's each day as I could. And this was one of those companies that was on the list as like, okay, pretty much a guaranteed no. So I'm just going to hit him. But I did it regularly, right? And it wasn't pushy. I was never like, you know, asking for the order. I was just always kind of checking in, making sure you guys knew that, you know, I was still around and that if they ever need anything, you know, maybe something overflow or whatever, that I'd be there to help them out. And, you know, so anyhow, one day I make the call expecting to like, you know, be done for the day. And next thing I know, the guy's like, yeah, you know, I got put through to the actual person making the decisions. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I don't know what to do now. And I get through and I get up there, I get the order. I mean, this is like, I was a young sales guy. This was like amazing. Like the amount, the blanket order that I got for just this 1 month's worth of business, like was more than all the business I had done that year so far. It was a massive order. I mean, you think about it, it's a chocolate company, candy. They use labels on everything. So, and I was selling labels, right? So, anyways, I finally got up the nerve to ask him, you know, why the heck, after all this time, was he finally ready to make the switch? And he took me back to the shipping department and he handed me this box of chocolates from his biggest competitors. And he said, yeah, I just got this from your competitor as my Christmas gift this year. And I'm going,
I love it.
I get it. But it you know, it could have been anybody. I just happened to be top of mind. And because I was persistent, right? I was not a great salesperson. All I was consistent and persistent. Right. But again, it comes back to finding that balance. I also learned that it really does require some research. Like sometimes it's really hard to reach out again after you've been told no 72 times. And so you got to have reasons, right? You got to do a little digging. You see an article show up in the paper, or, you know, obviously nowadays it's even easier. You put in a tag into Google search, and anytime their name comes up in a search, it sends you an email, and then you can reach out and go, hey, congratulations on this thing, or, you know, whatever. So it requires some research, requires some personalization to really think about them as a potential customer, not as a potential customer, as an existing customer, right? And it probably requires a CRM, a customer relations manager of some type, to kind of keep track of all that. But if you're focused on your existing business and you can be persistent in reaching out to them, man, it can go a long way to just growing and adding, right? I know my story was about adding a new customer, but that same persistence pays off. And then I guess the last point that I would make here, Terry, before turning this over to you, is try to leave every interaction you have with your customers with an excuse or a reason to reach out the next time. Right? Like, awesome. I'm glad this all worked out. You know, I know that this event's going to be coming up for you again next year. I want to just make it easy on you. Do you mind if I check in just to make sure nothing changes in 3 months or in 2 months or whatever, right? Like, you got to get creative here, but there's always a way to kind of leave that interaction as a, okay, I'll reach back out. Don't leave it as like, okay, well, just call me when you need me. Right. And cause that's where you're like, oh crap. Now I like, cause now they're going to go, I thought you said, call me when you need me. Now you're bugging me. Right. But when you leave it as a, you know, I'll just check in from time to time just to, you know, make your life easier. That'll go a long ways. So
Yeah,
Thoughts on that?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, and you don't want to. Yeah, you're exactly right. You don't want to bug people. But what I do know is, though, the more successful you are in sales, the easier it is to forget this. And
Mhm.
because if you're busy selling today, it's hard to think about the person you sold to last month. So you do need reminders, like in a CRM program, to say, hey, don't forget to wish Jim a happy birthday. you
Yeah,
know and uh
perfect.
and 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 it you don't have to get them on the phone. You can even just send an email,
Yeah.
just a checking in email. And I've gotten lots of calls back from just, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. You're still going to be working on that new project and something
Uh-huh.
like that. And boom, the phone rings. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to call you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
100% persistence, and don't forget about these customers you already have, because if you go back up to the top of the show here, these are the customers we want to sell more to.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right, Terry. Well, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and we're going to get through this list. I know we can do it. All right. Here we go. Hey there, fellow small business owner. I'm sure you've heard the buzz about the upcoming Fundamentals Live event. It's not just an event or training, it's a game changer for entrepreneurs like you, hosted in O'Fallon, Missouri. Well, it's time to reignite that spark and love what you're doing again. I want to give a gift to the very interested people out there who are ready to sign up today. When you sign up before April 15th, you get an amazing no-charge gift. It's 6 virtual milestone meetings after the event. We're going to start on June 14th. Every Friday, there's going to be a bi-weekly meeting to keep your momentum going if you sign up before April 15th for the Fundamentals Live. Are you in? Are you ready for the gift? Head over to osg.link/funlive to get more information and sign up today. Let's make it happen. All right, Terry. I know that everybody's going, wait a second, it's April 19th. You said April 15th. But I wanted to share that one more time because we've decided to extend it. We're going to extend it. The DAX show is happening. And so we wanted to extend it to give people a chance that hadn't heard about it yet. And so if we're going to extend that for the folks that come to DAX, then we're going to certainly extend that to everybody out there in the Two Regular Guys world. So
Awesome.
there's still time to get that free gift. So osg.link/funlive.
Very good. Awesome.
All right, Terry, let's get to number 6 here whenever you're ready.
Okay. My number 6 is sample other decoration techniques when a customer places an order. And I've talked about this one, I think, recently, but there's a decorator in Chicago who was doing sweatpants for a high school volleyball team. And if you're using Plastisol ink, the foil will adhere to Plastisol ink. So he did an extra sweatpant, and it had the name of the school down the leg. And he put foil and heat pressed it on, peeled it off, put it in the top of the box. And about 10 minutes after the box was delivered, he got a phone call going, oh my gosh, the team is going crazy for these. We need to order another set of sweatpants with the foil like you guys sent over to me. So, and even if they don't place an order, then somebody, probably the coach, is going to take those sweatpants and they're going to have the ones with the foil down the leg, and parents are going to be saying, oh my gosh, where did you get those? And it's just an opportunity to build on what you're already doing for the customer.
Yeah. I love that idea. I think, and you can get creative with that. I mean, obviously that's a really creative idea, just to add the foil there. That's an easy, quick, but we kind of talked about it with the hats earlier, but shrinking that thing down and putting a DTF transfer on there, putting a decal of some sort that kind of matches their brand or whatnot. I mean, you can take that a lot of different places. It's just the extent is your creativity and what it is that you're trying to increase the sales in. Right. So
yeah, exactly right. Put it on a bag, a zipper bag, and put that in the box.
I love it. Heck, put it on a zipper bag and then put the product in the bag.
Yes.
Now
Even
you've
better.
got packaging too. Yeah, I like it. Awesome. All right. Well, a really good one, Terry. You ready for number 7?
I'm ready.
Okay. Get feedback often, like often in all caps, often. Like, yeah, kind of a little bit with persistence, but different in your customers' needs are going to change. Their preferences are going to change. Right. And so it's your responsibility, if you're trying to grow your business through your existing customers, which you should be, right? We go back to the very top of the show again, right? This is the best way to do this. You have to stay on top of that, right? So, it's not their responsibility to kind of say, okay, that's great. Terry's been doing that, doing my Gems Towing logo for, bread and butter, 2 colors, that kind of thing. But I'm ready for something a little bit more, I don't know, full color, a little more, I'm seeing my competitors out there with a little bit more. And if you don't know that, guess what? Now you're out there finding new customers that are okay with the 2 color work or the 1 color work or whatever. So I think it's really important to kind of stay on top of that. And yes, you can send surveys out. And I think there's definitely something to be said about a survey where you can really kind of look at from a data perspective. But I also think that we need to make sure that part of gathering feedback is also having a sit down with them, right? Setting up a Zoom call. Like we talked about at the beginning, 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your customers. How often are you talking to that top 20%? Right. So when I was with Coastal, we had a top 20 list, and, we had reps that were responsible for all of those, and they had to make a certain amount of reach outs to those folks. Again, not to sell them, not to pitch them, but just to talk to them about, what's going on in their business. What are the trends? What do they need help with? Just building that relationship with them. And it gave us then an opportunity to say, okay, well, here's what we have overstocked. Here's where, this is an upcoming sale. You're a special customer. So it's really just at the end of the day, letting them know that you care, but then also take their feedback and then utilize that to improve your service to those top customers, because those are the customers you want more of anyhow. So design your business around them.
Yeah, 100%. And when I was with Jones and Mitchell Sportswear, we bought a lot of ink. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars in ink, and my sales reps would commonly give me a call and say, "Hey, do you have time for lunch today?" And never at lunch was there any conversation about, so I'd really like to get your emulsion business, or I'd really like to sell you more puff ink, or it was tell me about your business, tell me what's going on with you guys, what's anything changing, you guys getting into any new markets. It was finding out about me, finding out about my business, and for the cost of a $20 lunch. So I'm sure I'm not the only guy they were taking to lunch, but I'm sure it was there, just like you. It was that top 20% of customers that they wanted to make sure that customer wasn't going anywhere, because it's a competitive world out there. And so there are people, if you don't do this, somebody else will.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And that customer might slip through your fingers.
Yeah. Oh, very good. All right. Number 8, Terry.
Number 8, help your customers sell more of their own products. For instance, can you help them set up a store online? And I know people very successfully doing that today, helping clubs and teams and set up stores to help them sell product, and not just, okay, these are the 2 products that we want to sell. Well, and let me mock a couple of other things up for you and put those on your store as well. And they're at no cost to you, but I think it might help you. Or offer referrals, and when somebody will call me up and say, I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'm not ready to buy a DTF printer, but can you recommend anybody to me? I can. Let me send you over somebody's name and phone number. Make sure you tell them that I asked you to call, and boom, my phone will ring. Hey man, thanks so much for sending that customer to me. And we all can do that kind of thing. We can help our customers by helping them network as well and get more business. So
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
No, I think that's like you said, 100%. I think this is such a great idea that if you think about the fact that maybe you could be selling for them, quote unquote, right? Because my guess is you're probably out there at a networking event or you're, out in your community somewhere. And, maybe somebody does have a need, maybe you are doing shirts for the mechanic, right? Like, why are you not referring people to him? Like, that's where, like, just kind of doing business with your customers, right? At the end of the day, I'm going to go, if I'm, doing a lot of shirts for that mechanic, guess who's going to be fixing my car, right? And so, but take that to that next level and help them sell. I love that referral idea. And then also, how do you make it easy for them to sell? Could be too, where maybe it's not setting up a store for them, but maybe it's helping them with the marketing, right? Getting them samples, doing some of the things that really, again, just makes it easier for them to sell, because the more they sell, the more they spend with you. So I think that's a really good tip there, Terry.
There was a when I was in the collegiate marketplace, there was a bookstore that the head of my the folks at the end of the dryer belt who were quality control. She went to one of our big customers with the sales manager, and went in the back where they were unpacking the shirts, and the person back there unpacking them said, "Oh yeah, you guys, Jones and Mitchell, man, if you would fold the shirts like this, it would make our lives so much easier, because our shelves are really short and we have to refold every shirt that comes in the door." Well, what a simple thing that every time that customer came through, all their shirts came in the back door, folded so they would fit on their short shelves. We would never have known that without walking in the door there. And I don't know this, but I would not be surprised if those people out back there who were refolding shirts said, "Hey man, if you could place more orders with these guys, it makes life much easier for all of us working here."
Yeah,
so,
that's a great point. Great point. Okay. All right. So number 9, Terry.
Okay.
Redesign your customer service policies around your ideal customers. Right. So I think most of us think that we have to make our customer service policies to protect ourselves. Right. Yeah. This is the way we do business, so we can be protected. Flip that idea and make your customer service policies work for your ideal customers, right? You could have the exact same thing that you're trying to accomplish, right? Like, we need to have this by this, or, here's how we handle this kind of thing. And you can accomplish the same thing, and then just spin it, not spin like in a negative, like spin, but turn the focus into why this is good for your ideal customers, right? What is this policy for, and why do your ideal customers care? Why is that important to them, right? What are their expectations that you're trying to design for? And, if you can't get those two things to match up, then it's probably time to go back to the drawing board a little bit and figure out, okay, like you said, do we have the folding, right? Like, we fold our shirts this way to accomplish this thing because they're ideal customers, right? So if all of them had short shelves, then you probably change things up. That's kind of the example you just gave, but you can think of a lot of reasons why you might do something a certain way. And if it's all just to protect you as a company, then your ideal customers are going to go, okay, that's great for them, but what's in it for me? I'm going to go find somebody who actually cares about my business. And so I think it's just really important to focus your customer service policies around that. And then one other quick thing, Terry, it's also a great way to avoid those PITA customers, the pain in the customers, because honestly, when you're designing for your ideal customers, those pain in the butt customers really are just those ones that rub against your values. And so they're in that bottom 80%, and they're going to go away, because now it's like, I want the cheapest thing. Okay, cool. That's not what we do. So you can go away. Right? So, what are your thoughts on the customer service policies, Terry?
It made me think about price sheets, and I remember one time the biggest thing on a price sheet of a competitor of mine was a in bold type $35 charge for return checks. And I thought I would be afraid to order from this company. Man, they're covering their butts so much that and it's the tale of two price sheets, because my price sheet says 10,000 pieces by quote, as opposed to $35 return check charge. And my example for the 10,000 piece, and it's usually for my screen printing classes where, almost everybody who's running manual presses. Am I going to print 10,000 pieces on my manual press? No, I'm going to job it out to somebody with an automatic press. But what does that say on the price sheet? Man, we're a shop where you can get anything you want decorated, whether it's 10 pieces or it's 10,000 pieces. But I don't know if that's exactly
no, but it really is though.
About,
like I said, they're so concerned about the bounce checks. Okay, we'll change your policy then. If that's such a big deal, if your ideal customers are bouncing checks to you, you probably need to find a new customer base first and foremost. Secondly, then don't take a check or offer a discount if they make it, if they pay by check and but it's paying.
It might be a little bit of a dated example, but it's a truism that, if they're negative things in your pricing, and you see it on people's websites, just things that make you think, holy crap, did you get up on the wrong side of the bed today when you put that on your website? Because I don't want to do business with you.
Yeah, I always think about it like, man,
kind of person.
What's that? I always kind of think, oh man, somebody hurt them bad. And I don't want them to take it out on me, so I'm going somewhere else, right? But I mean, you do see it today, though. And maybe it's like you said, it's not necessarily the return check thing so much, but like, this, you got to pay a credit card fee. These credit card fees are killing me. Okay, well, either you got to raise your prices to cover that, but to charge a credit card fee, I've had this discussion a lot lately with folks, and I get it. I understand that there's that price pressure there. So if you're worried about raising your prices 3%, then offer them a discount if they pay cash, as opposed to saying at the end, oh, by the way, I'm going to just jack up your price 3% because you're using the method of payment that 99% of people in the world use right now. Right. So anyhow, we're way off track here, Terry, which is a good thing.
But we're almost done.
That's right. So yeah, get us to number 10 before I get us further off track.
All right. My last one, number 10 here, is offer your customers additional service. Maybe it's drop shipping, maybe it's special packaging, maybe you're going to offer them fulfillment. Fulfillment meaning, hey, I'll stock all this here. I'll send it out to all your different stores. Just tell me where and when and how much. You can charge for those services, but man, if you can become a one-stop shop for folks, depending on the business they're in. I was just talking last week to a decorator here in Arizona that his deal is selling to companies that sell on Etsy, and yeah, his shirts look great and the prints are awesome, but the service is really all the packaging, custom packaging he does, and he puts their business card in every box. And if you want golden red packing material in there, that company, everything that goes out gets the golden red packing material, and he basically built his business around. We're a decorator, but we're also a customer service special packaging house to make that fabulous presentation to those people's end customers. So, there's lots of things you can do that you can offer to your customers that might make their life easier, bring more business into you.
Yeah. And you actually mentioned this earlier, Terry, and I think it fits right into this. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, that particular company you were talking about, the product they're selling might be a decorated good of some sort, but that's not what their business is. Again, their business is to act as the manufacturing arm for those Etsy stores. And therefore, what they're really doing is they're solving a problem, right? So those Etsy stores, they don't have the ability to produce the kinds of things that they can produce with the equipment that they have. But at the same time, they still want their customers to get that experience, right? And so then now, did you send that fly all the way from Arizona? I just had it fly by me.
Here now?
Yeah, it's
Because I noticed it's not here now.
okay. Somehow it magically got from Phoenix, Arizona to St. Louis, Missouri. So I think I just threw that back. All right. But anyhow, point being, you're solving a problem for the customers, and I think offering those additional services will be a huge way to help kind of get those customers back, right? It's like, okay, great. Thank you for the order. Now what can I do to make it even better next time, right? And I'm sure that's how they grew those services. Okay. Oh, you do want gold and red packing materials? Okay, we can do that. Because you got to understand that takes a system. So you got to be willing to make that change, right? If you're doing business with 100 people and 3 of them get this special packaging, that's a big deal. That's not easy to do on the back end and get that right. So yeah, you've got to be willing to say, but then their margins have to work for that too. So it's all about designing that whole piece, but thinking ahead to what problems can I solve for my customers that will keep them coming back for more and buying more too.
And when we're talking about the special packaging too, that also makes that item at more of a premium.
Yeah.
That customer can sell it for more as well. So that Etsy shop can sell it for more because of, once they make that sale and the person gets that package and it's like Christmas, opening up a package like that and you're going to go back to that customer or go back to that reseller.
Yep. And that Etsy store, it's all about those reviews. So if they open that thing, even like I remember at one point when I was working in that space, right? Like we were just trying to get stuff out the door. And they were taking these blankets and just kind of shoving them in a poly mailer bag, and this blanket would kind of blow up at you all crinkled up and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, okay, if you look at it, the blanket's fine, but now the customer is kind of going, this is not my expectation of this $80 blanket I paid for. Now they're going to nitpick every little thing. Where if, we realized that if we would just took a little extra time, folded it nicely, put it in an internal bag inside the shipping bag, we reduced our customer service issues just by doing that, right? We didn't change anything in production. We still made the same kind of little blemishes and didn't get everything exactly right. This bug is really going to get me. Sorry. But it was all about, again, just changing that presentation. And so it was understanding what it is that your customers are dealing with after they interact with your product. So.
Yeah. And Aaron, in the end, a lot of people can do what we do.
Yeah.
Not only doing it better, delivering on time, but add a little extra flair that's going to set you apart.
Yep. And not to kind of hit this again, but back to what we kind of talked about at the beginning too, like why do your customers buy from you? Why is this person ready to come back and buy from you again? And really just hanging your hat on that, and that will drive more business for you. So
exactly.
All right. Well, I think we've done
1 through 10.
Yeah, we made it all the way through 10. So good stuff. Bonus time. Yeah. Every time we do a host show, there's going to be some bonus time. It's I think it's impractical to think that you and I are going to talk for less than an hour. I mean, come on, let's be honest. But Terry, where are you going to be out on the road here?
All right. My complete screen printing business course. I will be at Workhorse Products here in Phoenix, May 4th and 5th. I will be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply on June 8th and 9th. And you can find all of my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah. For me, I have got actually at DAX here in Tinley Park. And so I'm presenting today, but I'm actually going to, this is kind of, it's not really for me on the road, but Scott Ritter, you guys know, long time, started DAX, him and Margie, they're actually retiring. And he is actually going to present a seminar for the first time in years. And he's doing it tomorrow on the 20th. And it's called Selling for Scaredy Cats. So I actually, I didn't need to stay around on Saturday, but I'm extending my stay to make sure that I sit in on that one. And so nice. I think if you get a chance to be in the Chicago area tomorrow, just come to that show. Even if you're not a salesperson, I think that, or in need to do selling, I think just sitting in on this, Scott's a great guy, and kind of his swan song here, so to speak.
Very nice.
So yeah, check out, sorry, I'll get the right banner on the bottom here. Check out daxshow.com to check that one out. The other thing, just you heard about Facebook Fundamentals Live, and that is happening June 7th and 8th here in O'Fallon, Missouri. So again, we extended that offer for the freebies, the 6 milestone meetings. And so get signed up for that. If you're all thinking about it, maybe you've got questions about it and you're just not sure if it's right for you, please do me a favor and just reach out to me. You can reach me any way that you want, but if you want to send me an email, it's just aaron@oursuccessgroup.com. You can also go to consultaaron.com, and there's lots of ways to connect with me on there. In fact, even setting up a Zoom call together. Happy to talk to you about that. And then let's see here. I think that's really about it right now. If you're interested in my book, this guy right here, again, special thanks to Dane Clement, who is on deck here in just a moment. He actually made this cover artwork for me, so thank you, Dane. But you can go to osg.link/FBS to learn more and purchase that book. So I think that is it for me. And Eric is kind of.
I know Eric was supposed to be speaking there at the DAX show. And won't be able to make it, but he will be he'll be back on board right away. All is right with the world, everybody.
Yeah, he's okay, but doctors said, hey, let's take care of yourself here. He's got a bum wheel, so
yeah, he's not allowed to stand in front of a seminar room for hours on end answering your questions.
yeah, and trying to travel and yeah, so he's bummed that he's going to miss it, but just make sure you go to ericcampbell.com and check out everything he's got going on. The take up will still be happening and all that good stuff. So plenty of Eric to be had as far as all the great education that he offers. And so make sure that you're tuning into his website there at ericcampbell.com. Speaking of Dane that I mentioned just a moment ago, Terry, are you ready for this delicious sauce?
I'm ready. Secret sauce, generative fill with Adobe Photoshop AI.
Here we go.
Hi everybody, Dane Clement here with Stalls. In this version of Secret Sauce video, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a comparison. We're going to work on Photoshop's AI, the generative fill inside of Photoshop. But I'm going to kind of show you what it's good at and what it's not so good at, right? So let's go get right in it. So what you see here, this happens to be an image that I generated in Midjourney. Okay, so we're going to use this. I like it. I dig it. Although it's not exactly what I asked for. If you look at my prompt here, t-shirt graphic, right? Small surf shop. That's right. Tropical beach, sun shining, waves, surfboards, painted in oils. It's kind of watercolory looking to me. Not really oils, but hey, it still looks cool, so we go with it. What I want to do is I generated this. I dig the style. It's kind of nice looking. So I'm going to copy this prompt, right? And we're going to go into Photoshop, and we're going to see. Let's just go ahead and make a new one. Hit create. We're going to see what Photoshop does with that prompt. So inside of Photoshop, you'll see this little menu window here, right? This is where it all happens. This is the generative fill. So I'm going to just kind of move it out of the way. Now, it says select subject because I have nothing selected. So if I go to select menu all, right, it generates a marching ant selection. Now I can go ahead and hit generative fill, and I'm going to paste my prompt in, and I'm going to hit generate, right? And it's going to go ahead and attempt to generate something similar to what we just saw in Midjourney. Now, Midjourney is a great app. It's a pay-for app. It's my favorite AI artwork generator. But there's a bunch of other good ones out there that are free. And this is pretty basic and pretty weak, right? So it gives 3 options. So with your properties panel up, you can click on here. And I mean, again, it's sort of kind of in the neighborhood of a beach thing, but it is terrible. These are absolutely weak, horrible, no good, right? So I wanted to show you that because that is Photoshop's version of its own attempt to generate artwork. It's not good at that. What it's good at is making adjustments to existing photographs, paintings, things like that. So let's give that a shot. All right, so here's our Midjourney artwork open in Photoshop. So what you want to do at this point, you can see it's locked. It's just our background layer. We're going to make some adjustments to this first, and then we'll play around with it and see what we can do. So I want to get rid of this. I don't know if it's a street sign. I don't know if it's a power pole, but it's at the ocean and in the beach, and it's stupid, right? So I'm going to grab my lasso tool, and I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to go right around this shape here, right? Just like that. So I'm telling Photoshop to focus in on this area, right, with my magic wand, not magic wand, my lasso tool. I'm going to hit generative fill, and I'm not going to prompt it with anything. Let's just see what it does. It should know that, okay, I'm going to get rid of this thing without any prompting whatsoever. Let's see what it does. It should give us 3 options. There we go. That looks pretty good. So let's see. That's the first one. That's the second one. I see a little weirdness here in the wave. I'm going to go with this one. It looks a lot better. So what I like to do is I'm going to go ahead and just merge these two down. So if I go to the flyout menu, merge down, Command E, right? I just changed my setting because, you know, you can work non-destructively in Photoshop with these things and just sort of let them stack up on you. But I prefer not to do that because what I want to do is I want to get it fixed like I like it. And then I'm just going to work with that one. I don't want other stuff happening. So same thing. I'm going to get rid of these, whatever that pole is, and these lines here. I think they look like power lines or something. Hit generative fill, hit generate, and let's see what it'll do. One other thing, or a couple other things I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of this thing over here because my eye keeps going to it and it's totally useless. And then probably this extra palm tree that's just sort of away, not really connected to my tree. That looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this one. I like the first one better. Yeah, I'm going to go with this because it's just a little bit clean up there if I wanted to. So come in here, merge it down. And I could just go ahead and grab my mouse over. Does this tell me? I turned them off. So my spot healing brush, right? Make it smaller. Maybe kind of get rid of that. That looks pretty good. The rest is all right. It's part of the image there, right? So let's go ahead and get my lasso tool again. And let's just come in here and try to grab this section. Do the same thing with it. Let's see what we can get rid of. This thing works with photos as well, right? So whatever you want, you can create artwork and work with it this way, like out of any AI application or something, and you're good to go. Interesting. There's number 2. They got splatters in there. All right, we're just going to go with this one. And I'm going to go ahead and merge it down. And what I can do is I can do the same thing. I can make this right bracket key, makes my brush size a little larger. Kind of click over that and just make it go away. All right, so one more little fix as far as these removing things go. And I can do like this. I can also, if I wanted to prompt it, say remove, you know, palm tree leaf or something, but I don't need to. It should just do it automatically. Let's see what it's going to give us. Perfect. That looks great. I'm not even going to look at the other ones. I'm going to merge it down. Okay. Now let's see what Photoshop can do. So I want to add some things to this. We cleaned it up using just a generative fill, and you can do that quite a bit. So I still got my lasso tool selected. If I come in here and I do like this, right? Let's just draw a shape. And I'm going to say in here, go to generative fill, and let's do a small rowboat, right? We'll hit generate and see what it does. I figured we need a little something over there, and if I got a little rowboat, I can take it out in the ocean, bring it back in, that sort of thing. Works out pretty good for me. All right, it's going to give us 3 options here. That one is absolutely terrible. It looks like 2 small ones just randomly thrown in there. That's terrible. That's terrible too. I like the boat better, but it's just not facing the right way. So what we could do is we could hit generate again. Let's see what it does. If that doesn't work, then we can change the shape maybe of our marching ants. It might do a little bit better job, but I wanted a small little rowboat, little 1-person, 2-person sort of thing. They probably have a name for them, but I don't know. Now we got 2 again. I don't even know. That's very weak. But one cool thing is what I'm trying to... Man, I'm going to hit while I talk here. The cool thing, they're terrible drawings, by the way. But if you notice, they really mimic the style of my painting. That's the beautiful thing about this feature in Photoshop. It really does analyze your image and tries to make it, whatever you're asking for, make it fit in and look like it belongs in there. It's just doing an extremely weak job of drawing these things out. Again, facing the wrong direction. Otherwise, I'd go with it. We could go with it. I mean, it's just me. But let me go ahead and throw that away. I'm going to try it one more time. I'll do like this. I'm going to change the shape of it a little bit, right? Maybe make it a little bit bigger. I don't know. Maybe we was trying to put too much in a smaller shape. So I'm just going to say small rowboat. Gently down the stream. Sorry, got grandkids. Ooh, kind of cool. Not what I was expecting, but I kind of dig it. That's better than that one. You know what? This looks better. I'm going to go with this. So fly out menu, merge that thing down. That looks pretty good. Couple more things. Got me my lasso tool here. If I do like this and draw a little shape there, holding my shift key, maybe draw one more shape in here. Generative fill. Let's do flying seagulls. Look at that boat. I mean, it's pretty good. It matches the style of my image perfectly. I mean, there's nothing really we need to do to it. I don't know if I'd go into a red one. Wow, that is like just random invisible angel wings or something. That's pretty bad. So here I am talking good about this thing, and that's what it generates? That's not cool. So if it doesn't do a better job here in another 1 or 2 clicks, we're just going to call it done and not use them. But, you know, that's what you get. Photoshop is not a person. It doesn't, I mean, it's not mimicking the style of the artwork at all, I don't think, anyway. No. One more time. If it doesn't work, we're not going to have flying seagulls, unfortunately. Although we'll try one more thing. I'm going to try to change the shape of my blob. I don't know. I just want little silhouetted shapes. Oops, I must have hit the button again on my mouse. Oops. All right. After this one, we're going to do one more, just changing the shape to see if it does a better job. These are terrible. Well, that one actually kind of works. We could go with that. Fly out menu, merge down. Now there's my image. I think we made it a little bit better. I'm not thrilled about the birds. They're sort of kind of okay, but there's the weakest part of this, and I already merged it down, so I'd have to go back to my history panel and go back up here if I wanted to change that. I could, but just to show you, this is the strength of Photoshop's generative fill. It will add things and take things away from a photograph or a painting or whatever it is you happen to be working on. So hopefully you learned a little something, and hopefully it works out handy for you when you create your artwork. So thanks for hanging out. Look for me for the next Secret Sauce video. See ya.
All right.
All right.
You know, you meet some great people in this industry, you know, and it's, I think we're both blessed to have Dane as a good friend. So,
Oh, he's such a good guy. And yeah, just so giving and knowledgeable too. I still love the fact that he has embraced AI so much. You know, I mean, he could be one of those cranky guys. It's like, I've been doing this since 1985, which he has. And, you know, I could do that by hand. He understands it, right? You've got to embrace the tools that are there. And you still need somebody like Dane, because you can only get so far, and then you've got to get it to that finish line, right? But we still got to make it look great on a shirt, right? And AI is not going to do that yet, and maybe ever. So we'll see. But this certainly gets you there a lot faster. So I love that he's so into that and willing to share what he's learned. He's all in on it. So he's somebody to follow there.
absolutely.
All right, Terry. Well, we have come to the close of another show here. This has been a blast. I love sharing this top 10 list with you, and appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Again, if you are a podcast listener, we'd love to hear your comments and your questions, and just reach out to us. Let us know where you're listening in, or give us that review as we had talked about earlier. But again, we appreciate everybody tuning in each week, and we are excited that we were able to host shows. Are always a lot of fun for Terry and I. So
Yeah, we love to do them. So, all right. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for pushing those buttons and turning those wheels. And we're thinking about you, man. And we will see you next week.
yes, indeed. And speaking of next week, Terry, we've got Jenna, and I'm probably going to get her last name wrong, but I'll do my best here. Warner. And I don't think it's not Warner, but it's Warner. So we'll get the exact right pronunciation from her next week. But she's going to be joining us. She's an Instagram guru, I would call her. I mean, I think that's probably a pretty good term based on what I know of her so far. But she's going to talk to us about growing your business with Instagram and give us those tips and tricks that we need to clean ourselves up on Instagram there a little bit. So I'm looking
forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So tune in next week.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out. Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.